Hello there. Welcome. She's on camera. Yeah, welcome her to the webinar. Jen, can you hear me, by the way? Sound coming good through? Jen, can you hear me? Hey. All right, you guys. Welcome to the webinar today. When you're just getting on, let me know where you're calling in from. I got Jen on here who's going to help me with chat. Jen, can you hear me okay? You can say something. Don't be shy.
I can hear you clear.
All right, sounds good. You guys, let me know in chat where you're calling in from. We'll get started here momentarily. So normally I would be in Northern Virginia, just out of Washington, D.C., but I'm actually talking to you right now from Dubai. It is 5 o'clock in the morning, but I wanted to do this training because next week I'll be in Uganda on a sort of a kind of a mission trip, and then I'll be back in Dubai. So I'm speaking at this conference tomorrow, good grief, today. And so I'm doing this. Thanks, guys. I see you guys coming in. So I'm really excited to share this training with you guys today, even though it is from far away. That's where we're only doing sound. The video connection, as it turns out, is not good enough for video. We've tried. I have Jen on the call helping me with this stuff. Everybody say hi to Jen. Hi, Jen. Hi, Jen. Say hi.
Hello,
to the
everyone.
peeps. All right. So Jen is going to monitor the chat. All right. And normally I will leave the chat box open. Hey, guys. Caroline, see you from Sarasota. We'll keep it open, but you guys need to be nice to each other, okay? If there's anyone that starts being not nice, Jen will just silently eject that person, and that person will be gone. All right, so be nice to me, be nice to everybody else. Also, if you guys have any issues with the connection, always remember it's never my fault. It's going to tell my wife also, and she doesn't really buy it. No, just refresh the browser, or if you're using a mobile device, just click the reconnect button. That should normally do it. Now, here's the thing. This is a live webinar. However, because of this internet thing, I did pre-record a version of it that we will play if I drop off the face of the earth. So Jen has been instructed to play this webinar if I go away, so that you guys have something to watch. All right. So this was kind of a high risk venture that we did here, coming to Dubai. And sure enough, the hotel I'm at, the internet is a little flaky. All right. So so be patient with us. Okay. We're gonna do the best we can, and hold your questions to the end. We will do a live Q&A. So we'll come back. I'll come back here and do a live Q&A. And so now, in the meantime, I asked you guys to focus. All right, so turn off your cell phone. Stop swiping on Facebook. It's 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, so you shouldn't be in the office anymore. But if you are, shut the door. Tell your family that you're about to embark on a very, very important training, because I think this is going to be the most exciting message that you will hear all year. So I want you guys to focus on that. All right, so we'll keep the chat open. Save your questions till the end. If you ask questions during the talk, that's fine. Jen will mark it as a question for me so that I see it later on. Again, be patient with us. If something goes wrong, Jen is going to play the pre-recorded one. We're going to try to do this live. All right. In the meantime, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys telling me where you're calling in from. There's a large number of people registered for this, as well as on live. So I appreciate you guys being here in live. So it is 3 after the hour. We're going to get going here. So let me go switch over to the slides here. All right, let me officially welcome you to the Blueprint to Financial Freedom with Real Estate in 3 to 5 years. My name is Michael Blanc, and I'm really thrilled you're here to learn with me about how to become financially free with real estate. Let me first start by this book here. Who has read this book here? Type yes in the chat box. Yeah, it's an awesome book. It completely ruined my life. I did what it said, and I lost over $1 million. Okay, so this is kind of what happened in a nutshell here. All right, so Robert Kiyosaki talks about passive income. When I read that book, it seemed the perfect solution to my problem, which was, how do I quit my office job? So at the time, I was surrounded by restaurant franchisees who said, "Oh, you know what? It costs this much to open a restaurant. We're going to hire an experienced multi-unit operator. We're going to sit back and count the passive income." I was like, "Wow, that's exactly what I want." Now, you got to understand, I had some money from a software IPO a few years before then, and I wanted to parlay that software IPO money that was sitting in stocks and whatever being managed by Goldman Sachs into passive income. So when I read this book and I saw what these guys are doing on the burger franchise, I'm like, That's it. That's exactly what I want to do. And that's what I did. I bought a territory. It wasn't a burger franchise. It was a pizza franchise. And I signed up. I figured I had enough for 3 or 4 restaurants. That would then fund my living expenses and future growth. And I had a 20-unit expansion plan. I did exactly what these guys said. I hired experienced multi-unit restaurant operator. His name is Chris, the guy in the white shirt in the middle. Great guy, ran all the restaurants for me. And life was good for about 4 years, 4 or 5 years. We got hit in the recession a little bit. We recovered. But then in late 2012, early 2013, things started not going so well. I noticed that we weren't making as much money anymore. In fact, it turns out I couldn't afford Chris anymore, so I had to let him go. All of a sudden now, I was managing 6 restaurants myself, which is not at all what I intended. I intended to be the passive income investor, and it started to become a real nightmare. I got really, really involved in it, and it was like trying to catch a falling knife. There's nothing I could have done, and I was getting letters like this from the IRS, okay, where I couldn't even pay my payroll taxes properly, so I was getting these intent to seize my property. I had maxed out my credit cards. I had maxed out my unsecured lines of credit of about $200,000. I was probably about 3 months away from utter illiquidity. I'm not talking about running out of cash. I'm talking about running out of debt. Which means if I ran out of debt, I couldn't write checks anymore, which means I couldn't pay my staff, which means they would quit, which means I have to close the stores, which means I had nothing left to sell, and I would get sued by the landlords because I had personally guaranteed a lease. That's normally the way it's done, and if that were to happen, they can get a judgment against me and seize my personal property, my house, my cars, everything I owned. And it was a really, really dire situation. Now, there's a reason this talk isn't called How to Lose Millions of Dollars in a Pizza Franchise, right? Because I got out of it. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I'm going to show you not just how I got out of it, but how you can get out of it and maybe prevent and avoid some of these mistakes that I made. Because I was able to not only get out of it, but it was with real estate, right? But it may not be the way that you think. A lot of people are thinking single-family house investing. Now, you're probably on this webinar and this training call because you heard something about apartments. So I'm going to give you just a hint that it's with apartments. So I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? And I know you're already kind of going, okay, that's kind of great. I'm kind of interested in that, but I don't really have the experience or the cash to do any of that, okay? I'm going to address that right now because I thought I knew about single-family house investing and about apartment building investing. It turns out I didn't. I had it all wrong. I don't actually need experience, and I don't actually need my own cash to get started. And most importantly, did you know that the 98% of full-time investors actually aren't full-time because of their single-family house investing? No, they're full-time because of their apartment building investing. No one knows this stuff. If you actually think about it, and we'll talk about this in a second, but single-family house investing, the probability that you actually be able to quit your job with single-family house investing is very, very low. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And at the end, I'm going to invite you to continue your journey with me if you so called, because it's impossible for me to teach everything in the next 60 minutes or so. But I'm going to teach you a lot. And my goal really is to shift your mind about what you think is possible with apartment buildings. All right? So let's get back to the story here. How did it come to all this stuff? So back in the late 90s, 97, I joined this company called Web Methods. And I was in the right place, right time. We grew really quickly. Our product took off, and we went public in March of 2000. It was one of the most successful software IPOs in history. And then a week later, the NASDAQ tanked, right? So we were all like gazillionaires on paper, and that, after about 6 months was no longer the case. But I was like many of you guys, I was programmed to go to school, get good grades, get a good job with benefits. I was never surrounded with any kind of entrepreneurs. And so I didn't really know any better. Now, this was my first entrepreneurial startup venture. I wanted to experience that, but I didn't really know any better, right? So things were actually pretty good for some time, and then all the fun people started to leave, and I literally was one of the last people to leave there. But it went from this very exciting startup environment to, I would say, an office job. I mean, just going in, and you didn't really, yes, you had to work hard, but your heart wasn't in it. You know what I mean? Type yes in the chat box if you know what I mean. Yeah. So, and then all of these office politics started to come up. Like in the beginning, it was just a bunch of guys, gals, just trying to make stuff happen. No one was like backstabbing, right? Or playing politics. And there's my peer over there who's undermining me, trying to get his promotion. That aggravated me to no end. And then these meetings. So if there's a 60-minute meeting, why do we feel compelled to take up the entire 60 minutes if the same daggone meeting could be done in 25 minutes? And then that just drove me crazy. And then the khakis, like literally khakis was like the uniform. I don't know, the software, I don't know, uniform. So I wore khakis all the time. Never really liked them that much. In fact, I never wear them anymore. All I wear is jeans now. So all these things together really started grating on me. And then I had these two young kids, Mia and Dominic here at the time. And I was, we were working long hours. We were still getting stuff done. I just really felt like I felt like I was missing my kids grow up a little bit. Like I would come home and, I'd be tired, right? And I'd help with dinner, maybe put in the bed, and I just, I would collapse exhausted on the TV, go to bed, and then do it again the next day. And then the weekend, Saturday, you do your errands because you have time during the week. Sunday, you try to kind of relax and re-energize so you can do it all over again on Monday. And it was starting to become like insanity to me. And what was the most frustrating thing to me is my lack of control of my time, right? So I needed to provide for my family, and I did that happily, right? I mean, this is, I take that responsibility fully, but I couldn't figure out how to control my time. Someone else was controlling my time, and that was really frustrating to me. And I started thinking more and more about a way out of this environment because I was thinking ahead 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I was still in my late 20s, early, or right around 30. I was like, man, I can't do this for 30 years, right? I mean, who can relate to this problem I'm describing? Type yes in the chat box if this is you, in any resemblance of you. Yeah, man, I was looking for a solution, and there was no solution in sight that I could find until I found this book. I read this book, and I was like, oh, this is it. And I thought I was a pretty smart guy, and I was like, I am an idiot. It doesn't matter how much my salary is, which was pretty good at the time. It doesn't matter how much money I had in my bank account, which was substantial at the time. It mattered how much passive income I had. And as I told you before, my big idea was the restaurants because of I knew some guys who were living the passive income dream. So that was my big bet. It wasn't real estate at the time, even though at the time I did a bunch of stuff like because I quit my job. And I did this full time. I figured I could live off this thing for 1 or 2 years and actually start this business and be okay. I had a little bit of runway. And so I did other stuff. I did some real estate. I went on an apartment building boot camp. I went on a stock option trading seminar. I did all these things. I actually flipped a couple houses as well, which was really fun. And I actually got into apartments. Actually, in 2007, I took a boot camp and really started working the apartment space. Was marketing a lot in Texas, calling brokers, analyzing deals. And finally, after about 9 months and 150 plus deals, I had an agreement on a 82 unit in College Station, Texas. And I was just about to sign the letter of intent. And I was like, my gosh, what am I doing here? I had at this point 3 restaurants open, and I was like, I can't do this. I mean, if I do this, I'm gonna have to go to Texas, spend time there. I mean, it's required some renovation. So I decided, because we were so knee deep into restaurants, that I would put the real estate stuff on hold so that I can focus on the restaurants. You got to focus. You can't do everything in life, right? So that's what I did. Now, in 2009, once things kind of stabilized a little bit, I did actually get back into flipping houses. The market was so unique. I mean, there's so many foreclosures, and you could sell them. Once you fix them up, you could sell them so well that I actually got into flipping houses. And by that point, I didn't have any more money because I had deployed it all in the restaurants. Remember, I bet big. All the chips in the middle of the table, restaurants. So I had no money left for anything else. And so that's kind of when I was exposed to raising money from friends and family to finance some of these flips. And things started going to the restaurants. This thing kind of, I mean, kept me afloat a little bit because I was making good money on the real estate side. I had done a bunch of stuff, wholesales and lease options. I had a couple rentals, and I was making good money. But the problem is, it was a ton of work. Now, again, I have my team in place. I read all the same books, the 4-hour work week. I had the team in place. But still, if you're not buying a house, you're not fixing it, and you're not flipping it and whatever, you're not making money. And worse, once you do sell it, it's all over. Their money stops flowing. So I was making good money, but it was like, wait a minute, this is not actually getting me any closer to my goal, which is passive income so I can quit my job and don't have to work anymore, right? Because I was still working. And so I said, I got it, Michael. I'm so smart. I'm just, instead of flipping, I'm just going to hold. So I did some light math. I said, okay, if I want $10,000 per month in income and I can get each house to cash flow $200 per month, I would need 50 houses. Man, it took me 3 years to flip 36 houses. I'm like, okay, it would take me 5 years to accumulate 50 houses if I can even find houses that cash flow that much. And oh my gosh, how much work would that be? And how in the world would I be able to manage all that? And if I wanted to sell it one day, how would that look like? I was like, man, that is insane. And then I remembered my apartment investing stuff, because by this point I already gotten into an apartment building, and it was just sending me this mailbox money. I was like, why don't I do more of this apartment building? And I said, okay, what are all the pros of the apartment building, right? So one pro was that it's much more passive. There's really nothing really passive about the restaurants and even the single family houses. A lot of times, especially if you get going, people tend to manage their own houses typically, because it's not really cost efficient to have someone manage it for you until you get a little bigger. But with multifamily, the property manager is usually built into the business plan. It's actually more unusual to not have a property manager, so it's already set up to be passive, which was really cool. I can control the value a lot more. So with multifamily or commercial real estate in general, I could buy that one red house or building for $1 million, and the one next to it could be worth $1.3 million. Why? Well, because the $1.3 million produces more income than the one that's worth $1 million. So I could buy the $1 million right next to it. I can fix it up, make it produce more income like the one next door, and then I could sell it or refinance it at a $1.3 million valuation. I could actually force the appreciation of the commercial real estate, and I couldn't do that on the single family houses. So a rental property that produces, say, $1,000 per month is worth just about as much as the house next door that might be producing $1,300, right? So it's all driven by comps. So I couldn't actually increase value. I was dependent on the market. I didn't like that about single family house investing. That problem is not there with multifamily. So that was pretty cool. Financing. I can get unlimited cheap financing, where with houses, the loan to value is much lower, the interest rate is higher, and there's a limit to how many houses you can typically finance. You don't have that problem on the multifamily front. And even better, a lot of it is non-recourse, which means you don't have to personally guarantee the loan, which you don't have in a single family house. So love that. Woo! I could raise money. Real estate is the easiest business in the world to raise money from, because people are familiar with real estate. It's a comfort thing. They live in houses typically, or they rent an apartment. They get real estate. They can touch it. They feel it. And there's a comfort level with putting money into something like that they're comfortable with. So I could raise a lot of money. And then number 5 here, it was much more scalable. Scalable meaning that I could start small, go big. It also means that I could go as big as I want, or I could stop whenever, right? And I really like that. So putting it all together, it occurred to me that, man, this is really what I'm looking for all along, is something that can help me really quit my job permanently, and not in the way that I was doing. The other thing I liked about multifamily, just as an aside, as an asset class, is that the returns really are above average. Like, you're thinking about, hey, where can I put my money? Like, this is especially if you're a passive investor, you're on this training and you're like, I'm really interested in multifamily. So, the returns are actually above average. They're actually higher than the S&P, depending on, of course, when you're tracking the time. But typically, real estate are above average returns of what most people can achieve in the stock market. At the same time, the risk profile is extremely attractive. If you look at the default rates of residential real estate, was about 4% back in the recession, and multifamily was 0.04%. It was tiny, right? And that includes California and Florida, which were hit really, really hard. And the only reason that people got themselves into trouble with multifamily is because they bought without cash flow. There was no cash flow, and they really relied on the appreciation, which of course didn't come. And then they got these 5-year ARMs, right? These interest-only 5-year ARMs. And when they came due, they had to refinance or sell, and they couldn't do that. And so the combination, they couldn't even ride it out. And the combination of that is what created the very, very low default rate. In fact, occupancy and rents actually stayed very, 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 very stable throughout this time, because people still need a place to live. So the risk profile of multifamily is extremely attractive, coupled with the higher returns. Normally, you get a higher return, your risk goes up. Not so with multifamily. Really, really like that. Then you have extremely unique tax advantages. I mean, if you invest with the right sponsor or syndicator, the chances that you're actually going to pay taxes on any distributions you get should be close to zero. You shouldn't be paying because of the depreciation and the tax advantages you get from the IRS. Fantastic. And it's a great way to, of course, generate passive income if you're investing passively and generational wealth. So I really like multifamily as an asset class. It really, looking at all these businesses I've done, software, restaurants, in the scope of real estate, multifamily really was the best business in the world for a variety of different reasons. Really love that. So I decided that multifamily is the way to go, and I need to focus exclusively on multifamily. That was my way out. Frankly, there was no plan B. I mean, the restaurants were losing money. I was still flipping a couple of houses, but I needed to make this multifamily thing work. It was absolutely, there was no, you'd figure that, I could go back to work, and I really strongly considered that. But the idea, after being independent for so long, really did not sit well with me at all. It was, to me, no plan B whatsoever. It had to work. Now, like I said, the problem is at this time is, with regards to multifamily, I didn't really have any experience, and I had deployed all my cash. So I didn't have any more cash to invest in stuff. Now, with regards to no experience, this is a funny one because I thought I had experience. But it turns out I didn't get any credit for the house flips that I was doing. It was amazing. So I would call the broker up, and immediately he would ask me, "Oh, what's your experience?" I'd say, "Well, I flipped 3 dozen houses the last 3 years." He goes, "Well, what kind of multifamily have you done?" I said, "Well, I haven't done any, but look at the houses I flipped." And I wasn't being taken seriously. Like it was almost like the single family house investing was irrelevant. I could not fathom it. So here I am on this multifamily path, and I wasn't being taken seriously. I didn't have any cash to invest. And then I discovered that today I know that you need neither of these. You don't need experience or your own cash. And I'll talk about both of those in just a minute because it's a very, very, very important point that I'm trying to make. So I did my first deal. It was a 12 unit in Washington, D.C., and it actually came through one of my residential wholesalers. And man, I'll tell you, when I got to this thing, I was biting my nails because it was only a 12 unit, which is not very, very big, but to me, it was big. I mean, it was substantially bigger than any kind of house I flipped. And it really scared me, right? And I figured it out. I got it done. I raised the money for this. It was 5 investors who, by the way, only 2 of those came from my single family house investors. Not even those were interested in investing. So I had to go find new investors. And so I bought this building, and that building has changed my life forever because it set me on the path of financial freedom that I was seeking, right? So today I'm financially free. I make my living with apartment buildings, and both buying myself and teaching others how to do it. Through our investment company, we control over $75 million of assets throughout the United States. To date, I've helped students buy 750 units, totaling $27 million in total value. And last year alone, we bought 527 units together with students, totaling $18 million, right? So this one deal has totally changed my life, and it allows me to do things that I really like. I can control my time. I still work hard. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm sitting there eating bonbons, but I control how I spend my time. It allows us to travel extensively. We also homeschool our kids, so this opens up even more flexibility. Last year, we took 30 days to tour the national parks. This is in Monument Valley, which an outstanding experience. The year before that, we spent 2 months in Germany because I'm actually originally from Germany, so we visited my parents. This year, we're going again for 5 weeks. We're actually going to put our kids into German school so they get to speak German. They understand German, but I want them to speak German. And it also allows me to pursue my nonprofit interests. This is me in Uganda 4 years ago, and I'm going back to Uganda this year as well because it's been 4 years. And these things all would not be possible if I had a W-2 job, right? You get your 2 weeks and that's about it. And the other thing it allows me to do, and this is very important because I love doing, is teaching others. I really enjoy teaching this stuff, primarily because I thought I knew about real estate investing, and turns out, my gosh, I didn't. I was dismissing apartment building investing for reasons that weren't actually even true. And so my own journey has been very, very frustrating to me, okay? Because I have literally tried almost everything under the sun to look for financial freedom, and I made so many major mistakes. So my hope is that I can spare you from that and fast track and accelerate the progress you're making to your own financial goals and the life that you really want. And one of the main things, especially for this topic here, is that most people, most real estate investors, when they go to RIA meetings each month, they're really thinking single family house investing because that's what everybody else does. That's what everybody else teaches: wholesaling, flipping, lease options, rentals, right? Everybody's teaching that. And so, but if you really look at, and I have through my podcast, I've had the privilege of talking with investors who no longer work, they don't have a W-2 job anymore, and almost all of them, like there's like one person that's the exception, almost all of them did not do it with single family houses. They did it with apartment buildings, okay? So you're thinking single family house investing, which is great, but if you really think this through, the chances that you'll actually be able to quit your job with single family houses is almost zero. If you look at the way that people have done it, it's almost always with multifamily. You guys want to know how this is possible? Type yes in the chat box. Okay, if you want to know how in God's name it is possible to do it, especially when you have no experience or cash. Type yes in the chat box. Let me hear from you. Yeah, right, exactly. It's all due to this curious law of the first deal. The curious law of the first deal says this: if you do a multifamily deal of any size, you will be financially free in the next 3 to 5 years. Okay? It says any size multifamily, you will be financially free in 3 to 5 years. Now, I'm getting this not because I'm making it up, but because I've interviewed so many full-time investors on my podcast. In fact, the phenomenon is so universal and so strong that I'm writing a book about it. It's called Financial Freedom with Real Estate Investing. It's coming out in a few months. Really, really excited about this, and I'm actually teaching the principles in this book right here on this call, on this training call. Like I said, I feel very passionate about this stuff because I've been so misguided, and I see so many other people misguided. But this is what I'm seeing. Okay, this is how the law of the first deal works. So, the law of the first deal. Let's say you get into a duplex and say, okay, Michael, I'm gonna stick my toe in the water, and I just can't get myself to do anything more than a duplex. So you do a duplex. Okay, you buy a duplex, and it takes you a while, but you do this duplex. And what happens now is it triggers the law of the first deal. And once you do your first multifamily deal of any size, you start becoming a magnet. It's an unusual phenomenon. You become a magnet for deals, and you become a magnet for money. So what happens in almost all cases is that the first deal is typically the smallest, takes the longest. And then what happens is the second and third deal come along in rapid, almost automatic succession. And most people are literally financially free after the third deal. And this is what happens. So you start with a duplex, and then normally by the time you close on your duplex, you probably already have your second deal under contract, and it's typically around 10 units. And once you do a 10 unit, the third deal is typically around 30 units. And after you do a 30 unit deal, the next deal is typically 50 plus. And so now with 3 or 4 deals, you now control 100 or so units. And then in your mind, think about if you're going to raise money for this, which you are, and I'm teaching you how to raise money, then expect each unit to cash flow about $100 a month over the 5-year period. Now, in the beginning, it might be less because you're maybe doing a value add, and then maybe comes a little more in year 4 and 5. But over average, in your head, think about $100 per unit. So roughly, if you want to have $10,000 in passive income, that's about 100 units you're controlling, and you have $10,000 in passive income. Now, this excludes the value and the wealth that you're building, because typically over 100 units over a period of 5 years, you're building a significant amount of wealth and value for yourself and your family. I'm just talking about the passive income right now. And this is the curious law of the first deal. This is really important for you to understand, okay? Because there's something that's triggered by this thing, and I can't explain it. I'm just reporting it back. But it's important for you to understand this law, because that is why I focus all of my attention, all of my training resources, everything I do on helping you do that first deal. Because I know if I can do that, you're done. The second and third will follow. You don't need me anymore. You will be financially free in 3 to 5 years. And in fact, it's more like 1 to 2 years. Now, I say 3 to 5 years because I want to be a little conservative in setting expectations, but the truth of the matter is, from the time that you decide to go into multifamily, you are 1 to 2 years away from quitting your job. Now, I'm not making this stuff up. I'm going to give you a few examples, and these are not the only examples, but I'm going to give you some few just to show you that I'm not making this stuff up. This is Brad Tasha. It took him 2 years to replace his income. And it all started like this. He worked for a car parts manufacturer in Detroit. and a recession hit. Everyone around him was let go. He was one of the lucky ones, but it shook him to the core. And he and his wife sat together and said, we got to do something because I can't live like this. I can't live in the great uncertainty that something happens out of my control and I no longer have a job and can provide my family. What do we do? They thought of real estate. Great. So their plan, like most people, is single family house investing. So their idea was to buy a townhouse or rental property, one per year. So they would save the money, put the $10,000, $15,000 down and buy a house and do that for 10 years. And that would basically provide them a security blanket. And that's what they did. They did this for 5 years. They actually bought five houses in and around Detroit. And then he started getting really busy at his job. He was working 50 plus hours during the day. And then he was also on call sometimes in the evenings and the weekends. And it really started grating on him a lot until one point I asked Brad, I said, when did something shift in you? And he says, look, my daughter was putting my daughter to bed at night. And she says, Daddy, I have this recital tomorrow. Can you be there? And she goes, no, honey, I have to work tomorrow. And he saw her face drop in disappointment. And that triggered something in him. And he says, I can't go on like this. I can't live a life like this where I'm missing my daughter grow up. I need to accelerate my 10-year plan. I need to get out of this thing now. I can't wait 5 years or 10 years to do it. I need something right now. And in that instance, he immediately thought of multifamily because you're thinking of scaling, you're thinking of multifamily. And that's what he did. So what happened is, here's what happened. So from the time he decided, it's a very, very important point. The decision point is extremely important. From the time he decided, it took him 12 months to do his first deal. Now, 12 months is a pretty long time, okay? But he became creative on the financing because he didn't have the cash for a 12-unit deal. So what he did is he actually borrowed money from his 401k. He didn't use it. He didn't self-direct it. He borrowed, which means he paid the interest and the taxes on it to do that, to buy that first deal. It took him 12 months. He got some training. And he worked it pretty good, and he finally got this. So it took him a while to get this 12-unit. But then an interesting thing happened because now he triggered the law of the first deal. So the deals get faster. 5 months later, he bought a 12-unit, and they get bigger. And 4 months after that, he bought a 63-unit deal, and he had replaced his income over the course of just under 2 years, and he quit his job. So that's the story from Brad Tascia. And again, he's not the isolated case. I just want to spend a little more time on him, but this is Drew Kniffin. He closed on a 32-unit after, of course, doing single-family house investing. Most people kind of do start that, and they kind of realize, my gosh, this isn't going to work. Took him and 32 units. So from the time he decided, it took him 3 months, and he got started small, did a 3-unit deal. And then it took him a month to do a 4-unit deal. 2 small deals, okay, 3 in 1 month. So pretty rapid. They get a little bigger and they get faster. 2 months later, he does the big one, 32 units. And of course, he doesn't have the money for this stuff, so he had 2 other partners. He had a friend of his and a property manager, and they decided to partner on this. They also used money from the first deal because it was vacant, and they refinanced and pulled money out. So again, they're getting creative, and we're going to talk about creative financing on this call today, right? But the big thing is a decision, okay? The decision point, committing from that point that you want to quit your job. You can't go on the way that you're going on right now. And that's what Drew did as well for very similar reasons that Brad or all of us are thinking, how can I get out of my job? How can I shore up my retirement if that's coming up? My gosh, I don't want to reduce my quality of living. What can I do? From that point forward, the plan is put in motion, and it took Brad just 8 months to quit his job. Staggering, right? This is Tyler Sheff. It took him 11 months. He was, from the time he decided that he wanted to, he was with what was it called? Not the Marines, some other, I can't remember, some military branch. I can't remember now off the top of my head, but he was just traveling a lot. He was deployed a lot, and he was literally missing his family for months on end. He says, I can't do this. I'm going to take a furlough for 6 months. And that 6 months, if I can't figure out how to use real estate to permanently quit, then I'll just go back because I can do 6 months and no more. It took him 6 months to do a 4-unit. Then it took him 3 months to do a 10-unit. See how they're getting faster and bigger? And 3 months to do another 12-unit, and he quit his job. 11 months to replace his income. Okay? Awesome. This is the law of the first deal in action. So I want you guys to remember really one thing. The one thing from this call is to focus on your first deal. If you want to quit your job with real estate, then focus on your first multifamily deal. That's what I want you to remember. Okay? Nothing really else matters. Focus on that first, because I know that once you do that first deal, the law of the first deal takes over, and the second and third will follow in rapid, almost automatic succession. So in order to help you with that, okay, so hopefully I have started to shift your mind a little bit from what you think is the way to do it, real estate investing, and you start to maybe consider multifamily, but you still have several hangups. And we're going to get into those hangups right now, which is, my gosh, I don't have any experience. I don't even know how to get started, and I don't have the cash. What's your, what do you got, Michael? Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about the 4 secrets of getting started and doing your first deal, which is really, how can I raise the money to do my first deal? How can I raise as much money as I need for any of these deals? How do I get my offers accepted, even if I don't have any experience, or even if any proof of funds? I mean, how can people actually take me seriously? And then people are very much caught off in how do I analyze deals and how do I make offers. I'm going to show you a technique called a 10-minute offer that allows you to make offers in just 10 minutes. And then I'm going to show you some techniques that allows you to do your first deal in the next 90 days. All right, so who's ready for the 4 secrets? Type yes in the chat box if you're ready for the 4 secrets. Yeah. These are really important, guys. Really, really fundamental, the 4 secrets. Let's start with the first one, which is how to raise all the money that you want. Okay, so, so back when I got started with real estate investing, it was really with flipping houses. And I had the same problem where I didn't have any more money for these flips. I really wanted to take advantage of this unique market with the foreclosures and the retail market actually recuperating so quickly. So the spread between these houses was so big, I just wanted to take advantage of it. And I didn't know at the time what I know now about multifamily. My gosh, how'd I got started with multifamily instead? Unbelievable, right? But I didn't. And I didn't have any more money. So I had to start figuring out, how do I do this without my own money? And I just started talking to my friends and family, and all of a sudden my brother-in-law said, he's in for $50,000. I would pay him 12% interest. And then another friend, before you know it, I had raised like $1 million and we were buying 2 houses a month to do this stuff. And this huge light bulb went off in my head going, oh my gosh, I don't need my own money. I'm not limited by my own resources or my lack thereof to do stuff. As long as I can raise money and find deals, the sky is the limit. Right? This is the light bulb moment that I want to parlay to you. It changes your entire perspective. And it's surprisingly easy to raise money for real estate, like I alluded to earlier. And I'm going to do a little bit of poll here on this call, because I just want to show you how much money is actually out there for real estate. Because a lot of people say, I don't think there's money out there for this stuff, or at least not enough of it. There may be a little bit, but not enough about it. So on this call here, if you have more than $25,000 to invest in real estate, with stocks, cash, or your IRA, and you're thinking of using it maybe for real estate, type in 25K right now in the chat box. Yeah. All right. Good number. Yeah. Now, if you have more than 25, let's say you have 50,000 or more, type in 50K. Yeah. All right. Now, if you have 100K or more, type in 100K. And if you have far more than 100K, type in more. So you see, just on this call alone, there's a few people on this call. There's a lot of money already on this call. Now, when I do the same thing at the RIA meetings, or when I'm talking to, let's say there's 100 people in a room, and I do the same thing, you count up all the money in the room, and there's several $1 million of people, and not 100 people just sitting in a room. Now, these guys have money, and they're thinking real estate. They're low-hanging fruit. Like, you don't have to educate them on real estate in general. You might have to educate them on multifamily maybe, because they're thinking single-family house. But my gosh, they already have money. They want to deploy it, and they're thinking real estate. So start with your local RIAs. My gosh, start building a network there, right? So the money is out there. Now, another thing people get hung up about is this other problem of raising money, which goes something like this. Okay, I don't have a deal under contract. I don't have a deal, so I can't go out and raise money for it. That's true. That's an actual real problem. On the other hand, let's say I get lucky and someone actually accepts my offer. And now I have 45 days, 60 days to close. I don't have the time to actually raise the money for that deal. That's true. Very hard to do. And stressful also. And so they can't figure out a solution. They throw up their hands and say, so look, Michael, can't be done. But here's a solution, guys, okay? Here's my number one secret to raising money. and it's called the Sample Deal Package. Now, what the heck is a Sample Deal Package, Michael? Okay, here's a Sample Deal Package is a real investor package that is it's for a real deal. It's got an address, it's got a sales price, it's got photos, it's got financial projections, this has it's got projected returns for the investor. Everything about it is real, except for one thing: you don't have it under contract. It's not your deal. Now, you tell your investors that you don't have this under contract, but the point is, use it as a conversation piece to start having a conversation about investing with you, using this as a topic of conversation. And so what you do in these is you get interest from investors, your friends and family, your sphere of influence. And if they show interest, then you sit them down in a meeting and you explain to them, you show them this deal, you show them how what it looks like, and then they can ask you questions about you and your team and about multifamily, and they have these questions and they have these concerns, and you address them, and you start the process of making them more comfortable with you and investing in multifamily in general. So that, let's say another 2 or 3 months goes by and you now actually find a real deal. Okay, now you call up your investors and go, remember the conversation we had 3 months ago? Yeah. Well, now I have a real deal. He goes, well, great. Send me the deal package. And it's going to look substantially like this. And they're not going to ask you these great fundamental questions about you and the risks and all that. No, they're going to ask you specific questions about the deal maybe, but they're already comfortable with you and your team, and they're comfortable with multifamily in general. So the conversation is going to be very, very quick. So within a week, you're going to have all your money raised. Okay? Now, what this allows you to do, if you get verbal commitments from your investors, let's say you get 5 investors that say, look, if you get me a deal that looks a little bit like this, I'm in for $50,000. Okay, you get 5 people, and let's say it takes you a few months, whatever. You get 5 people and you had $250,000 behind you. Now, wouldn't that give you a lot of confidence for you to buy a 10 unit that's maybe $750,000? Type yes in the chat box if that would be pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, it gives you a huge amount of confidence as you're making offers because you already have the $250,000 behind you. And even if 1 or 2 of them drop out, you can replace those. You don't have to raise the entire money from scratch, right? So the message really is raising money, you got to start now. You got to start right now, long before you actually have your first deal under contract. And you do it with the Sample Deal Package, okay? That's it. And just think about it, guys, that you're really not out there raising money. You're building relationships in a more intentional way. You're really, what you're doing is you're sharing your enthusiasm about what you're about to do. And as a person shows interest, you can share more and more of what you're doing, and sometimes you can invite them to invest with you. Not everybody's going to want to invest with you, but they might support you in other ways. So really, it's less about raising money and more about relationships and sharing your enthusiasm and your story. And you use this as a tool to get verbal commitments from investors. Is that pretty cool? Type yes in chat box. That's pretty cool. That's the secret, guys. Now, I'm not going to be able to sit here and teach you the exact mechanics of what to use, but that's okay. Okay, this is something I'm telling you can learn, but it's so possible, and a lot of people have done it. In fact, friend Ben here, I remember when I first met him, great guy, but his hang-up was specifically about raising money from friends and family. He didn't like the idea. He didn't actually feel that he was very confident that he could do it. But I want to tell you that he just recently, a couple months ago, did his first deal. It was a 9-unit up in Pennsylvania. And he raised the money for this deal. When he first got started, he told me explicitly, Michael, I'll give this a try, but I already can tell you right now I'm not going to raise any money. And Ben raised money. And I only highlight Ben because he was so adamant about this raising money thing. And I just think that most people aren't so close to the idea of raising money. Most people are at least open to it. And they go, you know what? I think I can do this. I need to know the specific. I need some practice, whatever. But he was so negative that if he can do it, everybody can do it. Now, you're probably thinking, that's great, Michael, but what if I can't? What if I can't raise the money? Or what if I find a deal, it's a great deal, but it's too big for me? What do I do then? I have a solution for you. I'll actually, if you decide to continue your journey with me, I'll actually partner with you like I did with Patrick. Patrick was one of our first deals that we did with this partnership program in the Deal Desk, where you find a great deal, and you bring it to me, and I raise all the money for the deal, and I partner with you. That's exactly what we did with Patrick. It was a 69-unit deal in Memphis, Patrick found this deal. He worked it, he analyzed it, made the offer, and he researched it thoroughly and then brought it to me. I said, Patrick, man, you really did a lot of great work on this deal. This deal looks really, really nice. You did a lot of great work for it, and it made it very easy to partner with Patrick. So we went out and raised the money for that deal. Well, we kept him involved as a general partner and closed on that deal, and it allowed him to do his first deal, right? If you can find a deal but don't have the money, that's valuable, guys. There's a huge value because it's really harder. It's hard to find a good deal in general, right? So you find a good deal, bring it to me or bring it to someone else who can help raise the money, and now you're in your first deal. It's fantastic. Since then, we closed over 500 units in that way just last year alone through this partnership program, and we're probably going to do at least 1,000 units this year. It's a great way for you to get in your first deal. If you find a bigger deal or you find it sooner and you're having trouble raising the money yourself, this is a great deal. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you right now is I want to take the topic of money off the table entirely. Okay, you not having your own money is not a reason not to get started with apartment buildings. You know what I mean? So you're going to learn how to raise it yourself, and or you can always partner with me. Okay, so the lack of money is no longer a reason, no more excuse. Okay, you got that? Is that pretty cool? Type yes in the chat box if you get that. Type yes. That's right. Money, no excuse, no more. Okay? All right, now the other hang up is lack of experience. And this is a real issue because how is someone, these are brokers, sophisticated brokers, how in the world are they going to take me seriously if I come out of nowhere, I don't have a track record, and they're never going to accept my offers? What do I do? This is where we get into secret number 2, how to get your offers accepted even if you have no experience or track record. Now, I remember when I was a newbie, this is me as a newbie, when I was a newbie, I was shocked at how I was not being taken seriously by these brokers because I thought I had a pretty good track record with the house flips. And, I would call these brokers up in Texas, and I would say, hey man, my name is Michael. I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking for apartment buildings with a 10% return. Can you send me any deals that you have right now? And they would immediately ask me for my track record, my experience, and I would say, I'm a house flipper. They said, yeah, how much multifamily do you have? I said, none. He goes, well, you send me your proof of funds, and I'll send you some deals. And I was dead in the water. So I didn't have the proof of funds anymore. They were all deployed, as I said before. And I just was not getting traction with these brokers. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Like, they're not taking me seriously. And I thought my track record wasn't doing me any good. And that's when I realized the power of education. It took me a while to figure out, but I was making several mistakes. When you call a broker, the broker had the biggest fear is that you're wasting their time. And the second fear closely following that is that, okay, if I do give you my time and I do take it seriously, you're not going to be able to close on a deal, thus making me look bad and wasting my time in the process, right? So they qualify the caller in these ways. And one of the ways they do it is they ask for your track record and proof of funds, and that makes most newbies go away, okay? I figured out that I was making these mistakes, and then I figured out, my gosh, I need to approach these brokers differently. So over time, I started developing a better script. I also recognized I needed a team around me. So two realizations coming out from being educated, in this case through experience. In this particular case, I'm going to tell you how to overcome it now so you don't have to figure this out yourself. But it's really those two things. It's about building your team and about being educated, okay? Meaning you got to use the right language, and you have to proactively address the major concerns that the broker has. So I would use a script that goes something like this. Hey, my name is Michael. I'm working with a group of high net worth individuals, and we're expanding into the Atlantic market. We're already working with property management company XYZ. We're looking at multifamily in the $1 to $2 million arc, anything above a 7.5 cap going in. A value add okay, but no repositions. Is there anything in your pipeline you can send me over? Now, I used a few more words in there, but more than a few words. I was very intentional about the words I used. First of all, I addressed the money part. I'm working with a group of high net worth individuals. So obviously I've already addressed the money part. Number two, I addressed the experience part because I said we're expanding, implying that we're expanding from something we've already done, which may, and zero is still expanding. I'm not lying. I'm just, not telling them the entire truth, up front, but I'm expanding. And I'm working with, most importantly, I'm working with property management company XYZ, and that goes back to your team. Okay, so if you've done this right, you've aligned yourself with an excellent property manager in a market that everybody knows. Okay, so when you say I'm working with property management company XYZ, that broker is likely going to know them. Okay, and all of a sudden you're shifting away the attention of you and your lack of money experience, because now you're already backed by investors and you're already working with XYZ company. And so now the conversation isn't about you at all. It's about your team. And you're also using insider lingo such as cap rate or reposition. Okay, so these are all indicators to the broker that you're a player. Okay, you're a player. The likelihood that you're going to waste their time is now much, much lower, and they're not going to risk asking you for a proof of funds or a track record because he might offend you. Because if you're a player and he offends you, well, then you're going to go somewhere else, and they're not going to risk that at this point. And so all of a sudden, this broker no longer asks you for proof of funds or your track record. Okay, can you see the power of education? Type yes in the chat box. Yeah, a little bit of education goes a long way. It's not rocket science. You just gotta learn a few things. Build a team around you. Okay. I remember when I first met Nick, he was very excited about this multifamily thing, and he ran off to his RIA and immediately started talking to investors. And he came back and reported back and goes, "Man, that did not go as well as I planned." Because after a few words of saying things, they always asked me what my track record was. These investors did, and I didn't have an answer because I don't have a track record. I said, "Nick, good grief." And I told him exactly what I'm telling you guys. I said, "Look, get a little more education, polish your script, talk to one or more property managers in the area you're looking in so you can talk with confidence about the team behind you." And so he did this over the next, because these RIA meetings are once a month. So he went back to the next one. He goes, "Man, I talked to another couple. They were really excited and they wanted to meet with me and talk more about investing with me." And the whole idea of track record never even came up, right? And so what's happening is this little bit of education now gives you confidence. That's really important in anything in life that you're really doing. But in this particular case, the more skill that you develop, okay, the higher your confidence goes. All right? And these, again, it's not rocket science. These are all skills that you can learn. But you can always see how confident you are by how someone reacts towards you, right? So if they're asking for a proof of funds or your track record, you didn't appear very confident. You just appeared like a newbie. So I polled some of the other people that I know that that have got started with multifamily, and this is Philippe, my favorite Frenchman, and he did his first deal last year. Did an 80-unit deal, and that was his first deal. And I asked him, Philippe, because I didn't know about this until he brought this deal to me, and he did raise some money, but not all of it. So we helped him raise the rest of the money. And I said, Philippe, just out of curiosity, were you ever asked for proof of funds? He goes, "Nope, I was never asked for proof of funds." Right, because he completed the training that I'm going to show you a little bit later on, and he just developed that confidence, and he was never asked for proof of funds. I said, okay, well let's see what Laura says. Laura got her first offer accepted recently, and I said, hey, were you asked for proof of funds? Because I'm really curious about this. Who's getting asked for proof of funds and who's not? She goes, yeah, I was. In the very beginning, and before I'd finished your course, I was actually asked for proof of funds and track record. And he goes, well, okay, what'd you do? I said, well, I completed your course. I got my skill level up, learned how to analyze deals. My confidence raised up, and I went back out, and I have not been asked for proof of funds since then. So I'm just relaying this to you that the little bit of education goes a long way. So get your education. I'd love for you to come on board with me later and join me for my training program. But again, I want you to be successful and change your life, right? So if this is not right for you, go find training somewhere else, okay? That's really what I care about. What I'm saying is get your training, build your team. Now, I know some of you guys are saying, oh my gosh, I hear what you're saying, Michael. I'm not going to be asked for proof of funds, but what if? What if I'm asked? What do I do then? I got you covered, okay? I got you covered. If you decide to work with me, I will give you a proof of funds up to $1 million. Now, we can do more if you need it. Obviously, if the deal's bigger, it's going to require a bigger proof of funds. But we'll arm you with proof of funds, okay? Again, I want the experience off the table, okay? I don't want you to tell me, Michael, I don't have my first deal yet, so I can't get started, okay? It's horse manure, okay? You can get started without experience in the way I just described. And if everything else fails, we'll even arm you with a proof of funds to get past even the hairiest broker, the most suspicious broker in the world, all right? Can you see how little education, how building a team can overcome experience? Type yes in the chat box right now. Yeah. Totally. And it's not going to take you months. Take a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, and your confidence will be up to the point where you're going to have a peer-to-peer discussion with brokers about how flawed their analysis is. Okay. Now, speaking of analysis, one of the other things is, my gosh, how do I even analyze multifamily? It seems very complicated. And I felt the same way. In fact, when I first got started, it took me 4 hours to answer the question, what is the most I can pay for this deal and why? And 4 hours is a long time, guys. I mean, not many people have 4 hours to do a deal. And I didn't have the techniques I did back then, nor the tools that I have now. And I'm going to share with you the technique now that I didn't have, and that is called the 10-minute offer. It really allows you to make an offer 10 minutes from getting the marketing package from your broker. And it's a very simple technique, but extremely powerful. You don't need a lot of stuff, and in fact, you're using the numbers that are provided from you from the broker. And so let me describe this to you, and I'm just gonna show you a little light math. Okay, so don't glaze over for a second. Okay, just hang tight with me. Okay, light math. Okay, how is value determined in commercial real estate? Okay, value on the left, and that's equal to NOI, or net operating income, divided by something called the cap rate. So net operating income is the income rent coming in, expenses going out. That's your net income. Okay, that does not include your debt service or your mortgage. So it's very simple. The income and then you divide it by something called a cap rate. And cap rate is almost like it's like a value multiplier. It's like something where it's a quotient where people can estimate the value of the real estate based on the income. And as we already talked about earlier, commercial real estate is valued based on the income. You can see the higher the income, the higher the value. All right, now the cap rate. What the heck is a cap rate? I don't want to explain what the cap rate is specifically. Let me just tell you where it comes from. It comes from your broker. Okay, your broker will normally say, it's normally in a lot of marketing packages, okay, this is an 8 cap. It's advertised at an 8 cap, a 6 cap, a 7 cap, an 8 cap, right? So the broker will tell you what the cap rate is for buildings like that in this area. Okay, so just take it for what it is. Now here's an example. A building that produces $50,000 per year in income. The cap rate from the broker is 8%, and you apply the formula, and the valuation is $625,000. And in fact, that's what's in the marketing package. The asking price is $625,000, and it's based on an 8% cap rate, and that always stays the same for buildings like that in that area. It doesn't change. That's the way that all buildings in this area are valued, at an 8 cap. Okay. Now, what does vary is the NOI, or the income. The way that the 10-minute offer works is like this. You take the NOI, the income, and you adjust it using very simple rules of thumbs. You reapply this formula, and you get a revised value for that building. Okay, so it goes something like this. NOI is $50,000. Well, let's say the income only has a vacancy rate of 3%. So in other words, the gross income is blah, and then it's got a 3% vacancy. Well, 3% vacancy is low. In most parts of where you're going to be looking for deals, 3% vacancy is really low. Like, you should be using more like 10%. So you take the gross income that's in the marketing package, instead of deducting 3%, you deduct 10% of that from the income. Okay, so that's the income. Now the expenses. A lot of brokers really underestimate the expenses to make everything look more attractive. Now the truth of the matter is that expenses are typically 50% of income. Sometimes even a little bit higher, but 50% is a good rule of thumb. So if the marketing package reports expenses at anything less than 50%, you can just throw that number right out the window. Take your income, take 50% of that, and those are your expenses. So you've adjusted your income, you've adjusted the expenses, and so of course now you have an adjusted net operating income. So let's say I make some minor adjustments, and instead of $50,000 through my adjustments, the income is now $46,000. I divide that by my 8% cap rate, and the valuation is now $575, lower than the asking price. Okay? So now you get back to the broker saying, you know what? Hey, your asking price won't work, but here's what would, $575, and here's how I came up with it. I took your income. Your vacancies are too low in my experience. It's more like 10%. Your expenses are low. In my experience, it's more like 50%. And I adjusted your income. I got $46,000. I applied your cap rate, and the value is more like $575. Is there any flexibility with a seller, or probably not? You just made a 10-minute offer. Okay, that's it. 10-minute offer. Okay, it is a brilliant way. It doesn't require research, time spent on the phone. You just made a 10-minute offer. Now, if you're invited to actually put in a letter of intent or an offer, Well, do you now need to make more, do more analysis on this deal? You betcha. And I'm going to show you a tool for that. Okay, and I'm going to have a tool that makes that very, very simple. But I don't want you to do that right up front. I want you to use the 10-minute offer to make your first offer. All right, is that pretty cool? Type yes in the chat box. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I did not have this technique. My gosh, I would. You know, now let me ask you this. If you had this technique and it would take you 10 minutes to make an offer, do you think you could make one offer per day? Type yes in the chat box if you think you can do that. Yes, you could. Now, if it takes you 4 hours, that's a different story. Maybe I can make one offer a week. 4 hours is a long time. But 10 minutes? Yeah, this is huge, guys. This is secret number 3, how to make offers. Now, some of you guys are probably wondering, well, okay, great, but how do I find these deals, right? And the answer is fairly simple. There's a bunch of free websites out there where you can find deals. Now, the deals are probably not so interesting, but what's more interesting than deals is the brokers behind them. So you go all these websites out there and you find where all these deals and brokers are, and you create a spreadsheet of these brokers and you start calling them one-on-one using a similar script I used earlier, and you want to get on their buyers list and you want to build rapport with them, okay? And they're going to start sending you deals, and those are the ones you apply the 10-minute offer at, okay? So that's how you do that. And to make an offer is very simple. Use a letter of intent. A letter of intent is a non-legally binding 1 or 2 page document that says, I propose I'm going to buy it for this price. We're going to get this kind of financing. We're going to have this due diligence, and we're going to close in X days. It's a very plain English document. It's almost like an email. In fact, you can achieve the same thing in an email. The reason you do it this way is because you want to get agreement on some of the material terms before you give it to an attorney to draft a purchase and sale agreement, which costs money, of course. Okay, so you get agreement, and you can do this via email. It doesn't have to be via a letter of intent. Once you get agreement via email or verbally, you write it up, and it's 1 or 2 page document, and you send this to your broker, and they then create the purchase and sales agreement. So it's not rocket science, okay? 10-minute offer, some kind of written agreement in this way, letter of intent, and now you're moving forward. So that's how you do that, okay? That's how you get your offers accepted. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, well, that's great, but I've heard it's really hard to find good deals right now. What can you say about that? Well, here's my perspective on that stuff. It's not any harder or easier than it is any other time, okay? Now, the only other time that it was a lot easier was in 2008, okay, when everybody was selling, but everybody was so scared that no one was buying. All right, so right now is a pretty balanced market. You can find deals, but they're not going to be, they're not going to be laying around throwing your lap. You're going to have to hustle for it, and that's exactly what Patrick did. The guys who are doing deals, like all these 500 deals that we did and all the deals that we're currently working on with students right now, okay, these are just students, people who are hustling, okay? Now, if you're sitting there and you think you can analyze a deal and make an offer, and then you're surprised why you're not getting a deal, well, it's a numbers game. It's a pipeline, a funnel, like with everything else. Even if you're doing single-family house, you got to make a bunch of offers to get one. It's the same thing with apartment buildings. There's no difference at all. And there's no reason, if you have a 10-minute offer, why you can't make a bunch of offers on stuff. No reason at all. So what I'm telling you right now is the people who are doing deals are actually hustling. Okay? So that's my message to you. Plenty of people are doing deals right now, and it's a great time to do this kind of activity. Secret number 4 is how to do your deal in the first 90 days. Now, just to set expectations properly, I really want to take the pressure off you. Really give yourself 12 months to do your first deal. There's no shame in taking 12 months to do the first deal. None at all. Okay, so I really want you to think about more like a 12-month thing. However, there are things that can accelerate this, and I know a lot of you guys are impatient. You want to get going, so I do want to give you and arm you with some of those techniques. Okay, so here they are. First deal in 90 days. So 3 things. Number 1, it is possible to do your first deal in 90 days. And one example, a perfect example, is Ed Hermson. He signed up for my course, and 3 months later, he did his first 22-unit deal. Okay, he was maybe in the right place, right time, but as he was building his team, like I teach in the course and on this training, he spoke to several property managers, and one of them said, I think the owner of this one property wants to sell his property. Why don't you call him? So it was an off-market deal. And it led to this first deal. So it can be done, okay? Like I said, just give yourself 12 months to do it. But it certainly can be done, and Ed did it. But if you want results faster, there's a couple things you can do specifically to accelerate your timeline. Strategy number 1 is to buy small, okay? Now, I will try to push you to do a bigger deal, But before you throw up your hands and say it can't be done, then buy small. Okay? And this is what these guys did, right? This is what all these guys did. We didn't talk about Jay, and we didn't talk about Brooks. There was a couple other examples. I just left them off so it's not as long. But both Tyler and Drew and Jay and Brooks, they started with a duplex or a triplex or a quad. They started with small stuff. And the reason we do that is, well, maybe we can't wrap our head around anything bigger, okay? But the advantage of the small stuff is that there's more of them. I mean, you can buy duplexes much easily. A lot of them are listed on the MLS, and you can buy them probably within an hour drive of where you are right now. So there's a lot more of them. You don't need as much money for them, right? So it's much easier to get going. So before you give up, buy small because it triggers the law of the first deal. Okay, does that make sense? So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is to partner with me, okay, via my deal desk. And we just talked about that earlier, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But if you partner with me, then all you can do is just focus on finding a deal. You're not raising money. You're just looking for that first deal. And so if you don't have to raise money, it'll accelerate the process of you finding your first deal. Then partner with me, by all means. Option number three is to invest with me. I'm constantly looking for passive investors or even people who want to help raise money if you're able to do that. And again, I'm looking for every possible way I can think of to get you into your first deal. I'm going to show you how to do it yourself, how to be your own syndicator, how to find deals, and how to raise money. But but I'll partner with you to get you in your first deal. And I will, you can invest with me, and that will also get you into your first deal because you learn a lot about this if you invest. And some people, they high net worth individuals, they just simply want to invest passively, but others have some money, and maybe they invest with me the first time around to kind of get insight and get more into the business. So by all means, that will also get you into your first deal. All right. So those are kind of the ways that I want to encourage you to think about how you can accelerate the timeline in the first 90 days. But again, take the pressure off yourself and give yourself 12, 18 months to do your first deal, because I know that if you do that, your second and third will follow in rapid, almost automatic succession. But now imagine for a minute, because I want you to put all these 4 secrets together because they're really, really important. Imagine if you could raise all the money that you can with secret number 1. And then imagine if you can within just a few weeks overcome your lack of experience. And all of a sudden, brokers take you seriously. They think that you're an experienced guy who can close on their deal. Amazing. It's like, right? And then imagine you couple that with the techniques that I showed you to make the 10-minute offer, right? So now you can make lots of offers. And then maybe you use one of the techniques to do a deal in the first 90 days. Maybe you partner with me, okay? Think about it. Do you think you could do your first deal in the next 12 months? Type yes in the chat box if you think you can do that. Yes, that's right. You can do your first deal in the first 12 months by using a combination of these 4 secrets. Okay, so who's excited about that? Who's excited about that possibility? Type yes in the chat box. I am really excited about that possibility, and I'm really, really excited to share with you things that I've created for you to help you along in your journey. So I want to invite you to consider your journey with me. Is it okay if I take about 10 minutes to show you what I've created for you? Type yes in the chat box. Yeah, so I am so stoked about what you're about to see, because this is very, very unique anywhere in the universe about what I'm going to show you. And that is the ultimate guide to buying apartment buildings with private money. It is the most comprehensive program on the planet that shows you how you can do your first deal, period. Whether you have money or experience or not, doesn't matter. I don't leave any stone unturned, as you can imagine, because I want you to do your first deal. So anything I can think of that gets you in your first deal is going to be in this program. So I'm going to give you a quick tour. The heart of the program, the Ultimate Guide, is an online course. It's completely online, self-paced. It's 8.5 hours of video of me teaching you one-on-one everything I know about apartment building investing. We spend the most time on raising money, how to find investors, what to say to them, how you structure the deal. We talk about SEC considerations, NAD considerations. I spend a lot of time on this topic because it's so, so important. We also talk about how to find the right area. I mean, what area should you invest? And I assume, by the way, that you're going to be investing outside of your area. If you're not and you're investing in your backyard, great. My assumption is you're not. And that changes the way your approach of how you do things. We talk a lot about how to find deals. We talk about brokers, as we talked about. It's the number one ways to do it. I also talk about other ways like sending letters to apartment owners. How do you build your A team? How do you find them? How do you interview them? What do you look for? How do you analyze a deal? You're going to get the syndicated deal analyzer. That's that tool that I was alluding to that makes it very easy to do very complex modeling on multifamily. That comes right after the 10-minute offer. Okay? How do you make and negotiate offers that accept it? How are you taken seriously? How do you do the contracts? How do you perform due diligence? How do you get financing for the deal? Closing. How do you deal with your investors in closing? What are some of the ways you can build value in the property? How do you find and recruit a property manager? How do you manage them? What metrics do you do? When maybe is it time to fire that manager? I've had to do that as well. And then what are the exit strategies, right? Is it a sale? Is it a refinance? What? 1031 exchange? So we talk about that as well. So the ultimate guide is 8.5 hours of video, and that is me sitting one-on-one in front of you is over a $4,000 value. If I were to come to if I were to come to the house, it'd be a lot more than $4,000. But that's our coaching rate right now, and that's actually with one of our coaches. But so there's a $4,000 value of just the core itself of teaching you everything you need to know about apartment building investing. The syndicated deal analyzer is $129 value. You can buy that separately right now, and a lot of you already have, and that's fantastic. It's a very unique red light, green light system that makes it very easy to determine if a deal is good or not. It allows you to very sophisticate things very easily, and that's $129 value. And you also get a very important document library. Do you need a contract? Yep, it's in there. Do you need a template for an operating agreement? Yes, it's in there. And just that alone, by the way, guys, everything in the document library, the checklists and some of the contracts we have in there, probably cost me close to $11,000 in legal fees to develop. And then we turn them into kind of these templates. So you can take one of these templates and modify and send that to your attorney, and that'll save you $1,500 at least. So the entire value of the document library is at least $1,500. And so now we're just under $6,000. And that doesn't include the 6 video case studies that you're going to get, because I want you, once you go through the course, I want you to see how I analyze deals. And these are like these video case studies where you watch me analyzing and narrating these deals as I analyze them and talk about that. So really what you're getting with the ultimate guide is you're getting the online course, the syndicated deal analyzer, the document library, and the 6 video case studies, all a value of over $6,000. Now I know that some of you guys might be concerned about the time commitment. Okay, but I want to remind you that 100% of the people who have continued their journey with me have been full-time. Okay, and Brad was one of those, and he's just an extreme case because he was already working so much and he was on call so much. So if he can do it, you can do it. I tell people if you have 5 hours or more per week, you can do this. And that's an hour a day, maybe half hour for lunch, half hour in the evening, maybe some on the weekends. Obviously, the more time you have, the more productive you're going to be. But if you have at least 5 hours, if you don't have 5 hours, you probably are not right for this. But then you're not really right for any kind of investing, because you really can't really do anything in less than 5 hours per week. But 5 hours or more, this is going to work for you. So I want to remind that to you. So remember the one thing I asked you guys to remember. What was that one thing I asked you to remember today? Right. Yeah, it's your first deal. Focus on your first deal. That's the one thing I want you to focus on. Okay, first deal. So everything I'm going to give you is focused on that. And I felt there was, even though I hold nothing back in the Ultimate Guide course, everything you need to be successful is in that. But I wanted to increase the odds of you being successful and to do your first deal. So I want to give you some 6 incredible bonuses that will knock your socks off. The first one is this instant credibility in a box. I alluded about it earlier, right? If you need a proof of funds, I'll give you one. You can add me just by signing up for this program as an advisor on your advisory board, okay? And so that will get you through even the toughest brokers. All of a sudden, you have this instant advisory board and proof of funds. Boom. Easily worth $1,500. If you could have instant credibility like that just by signing up, how much would that worth be to you? I don't know. $1,500 sounds like a pretty good price. So that now we're just under $8,000 in value so far. The second bonus I want to give you is the Vision Map and 90-day plan. And this is something that we do only with our coaching students because it really helps you organize your time after you complete the online course. What do I do next in what sequence that leads me to my first deal and then beyond? So this is it's kind of your 90-day plan that shows you what should you do in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 the next 2 months, the next 12 months, everything leading up to your deal, what should you be doing, what order should you be doing at? That's easily $1,000 value. That blueprint that shows you exactly what to do. And I want to include that with you because, like I said, when you're done with the online course, I want you to hit the ground running. And so that's also included if you sign up. And that, by the way, all these bonuses that I'm talking about, they all expire this Sunday at midnight. This whole offer goes away. You can buy just the Ultimate Guide on the website anytime. But these offers, these bundles these bonuses I give you are not included. Okay, so this expires at midnight. The third bonus is, what if I'm stuck? Who can I ask questions? So I'm going to give you lifetime online support, guys. Okay, so we use something called Slack. It's kind of an online community, and you can connect with others in this community, but you can also ask questions. So, and if you sign up here today, that will you have lifetime benefit of that online support option. So I want you to have that, and I'm giving that. How much would that be? Would you pay like $29 per month for an online community where you can ask questions about multifamily? Yeah, $29 per month sounds about reasonable for that. So lifetime is hard to put a value on that, but let's say you pay that for 2 years, that's a $696 value. Okay, of just that alone. So together now we're just under $10,000 for the core Ultimate Guide and the 3 bonuses I just talked about today. Bonus number 4 is the Dealmakers Mastermind. The Dealmakers Mastermind is an extension of the online community that's really designed to help you become good at analyzing deals. Because you use the syndicated deal analyzer, but how do you know you're doing it right? I mean, when I got started, I didn't know if I was doing it right either. I was just stabbing around in the dark. Dealmakers Mastermind allows you to upload your syndicated deal analyzer and get feedback from a live coach about your analysis. And now you do this a few times and you get better and better and better at your analysis. And that in turn then increases your confidence. We talked about that. So this is kind of advanced support for those people who want to get really good at analyzing deals. And I have this, this is currently available. Some of you are already members from this, and it's currently priced at $49. That is most likely going to go to $99 soon. I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet, but there's a lot of people in that mastermind, which is great. And if you sign up for that, for this bundle today, you're going to get the next 6 months for free. Okay, so if you're not a Dealmakers Mastermind, you're going to get the next 6 months for free. If you are a Dealmakers Mastermind, you sign up tonight, you're also going to get this next 6 months for free. Okay, so you're not going to pay the $49 per month for the next 6 months because you're going to get the next 6 months for free. So what you're going to do is after this training webinar is over, if you're a Dealmakers Mastermind member, you're going to get an email with a special link that will allow you to do that. Okay. Also, well, the other thing also is some of this. If you sign up tonight, we may have to manually adjust your membership. Actually, now I think about it, I don't think that's automated. So go ahead and buy that now, and then contact our support saying, "Hey, I bought this thing. I'm already a DMM member. Please waive my next 6 months." Okay, so we'll do that for you. Got that? Okay. Phew. Glad I caught that. So now we're up over $10,000 in value because that 6 months worth is at $99. It's just under $600 in value. Bonus number 5 is 2 tickets to our upcoming Financial Freedom Summit, April 27th to 29th in Northern Virginia. That's our next one. We do these twice a year, guys. And the next one is going to be sometime in October. And these are not beginner workshops. These are advanced workshops. You have to have the course. You have to have completed the course to come to this course because you will experience what it's like to do your first deal. That's right. Like I said, I'm going to think of every possible way I can think of to get you in your first deal. And this is yet another way, because what you're going to do is you can see everybody's working in small groups of 5 typically. And we're going to buy a 69-unit apartment building together that weekend. So you are going to find it, you're going to analyze it, you're going to make offers, you're going to get it on a contract, you're going to do due diligence, you're going to have to deal with various twists and turns, you're going to get financing, you're going to raise money, you're going to have to pitch your deals, and if you're lucky, we'll close on it and cash a very nice acquisition fee at the very end, plus a ton of networking. I love networking, especially cash bars. So you're going to get 2 tickets to that. Now, you can buy this separately. If you go to themichaelblanc.com/summit, you'll see the event page for that. You can buy those tickets separately, and 2 people is $753. If you sign up tonight, you're going to get 2 free tickets to that event. Like I said, the next one is April 27th. So once you sign up, you're also going to get emails that will encourage you to RSVP for that, so we know you're coming, and you're getting a discount code that makes that ticket go from $753 to $0. All right? So I really want you there. If you can't make April 27th, then please come to October. You have a credit with us until you come to an event. And if for some reason you've already come to our last event, we've decided to make alumni come to any future events for just $199. So if you're one of those people on the call today that already went, you want to come again, just contact our support, and we'll get you a special code to attend that for $199. All right? So I really want you to experience your first deal if you can't tell right now. And I want you there in April. Okay? And I want you there. If you can't come in April, I want you there in October. Even if you do come in April, you might want to come back in October and refresh your experience and connect with new people. The networking, by the way, was probably was rated extremely high because these people here, they got stuff going on. There's a lot of people there that have already done deals. So the experience level and the level of seriousness is very, very high in this workshop. So I highly encourage you to come. And right now, with all this stuff already, and you're adding this up in your head, we're just at about $11,000. I've saved the best for last, which of course is the deal desk. I've alluded to it. You get deal desk submission privileges if you sign up here tonight. Okay, and this allows you to partner with us. And I'm assigning a $6,000 value because we had one of our lenders who said, "Look, for a flat fee of $6,000, I will introduce you to our high net worth individuals. I'll open up a Rolodex." I said, "That's pretty clever. I like that." Except for the fact that while that's useful, I still have to go raise the money. I still have to build a relationship and then convince them to actually write me a check, which might take months, if ever. What I'm suggesting to you is you find the deal, okay, and we'll raise the money for you. Now, just to be clear about this, okay, you have deal desk submission privileges. That does not mean I'm going to accept your deal, okay, because we get a lot of junk out there, and we get deals in varying readiness, okay, degrees of readiness. So what happens is when you submit a deal to the deal desk, you do it through the Dealmakers Mastermind. You get feedback from your coach, and that's included in the program. But then what happens is if the coach says, okay, your analysis is good, you submit it to the deal desk, and that now becomes a series of paid by-the-hour coaching calls. Now, I want to be upfront about that stuff. I don't want to misrepresent this, okay? When you submit it to the deal test, you're going to have to pay for hourly coaching until the point where the deal is real and we accept it. Like Patrick, for example, I mean, he only paid like an hour of coaching because he already researched this deal. He spoke to a property manager. He validated the assumptions in the syndicated deal analyzer. A lot of people, they just analyze something and they assume that rents are $100 more per month, but how do they know? Have they talked to a reputable property manager who confirmed that the rents are actually $100 under? Well, if not, the coach is going to tell you that you need to confirm those assumptions, and it basically, the deal desk call turns into a coaching call, which is exactly what it is. And our coaches get compensated for that, and that's exactly what happens here. So the more you do up front, right, the more you educate yourself and the more you do what I teach in the course, the shorter your deal desk calls are going to be. So just to be clear, however, you do get deal desk submission privileges by signing up right now. And again, I want you to sign up right now, and all this thing that goes away the end of this Sunday Eastern time. Total value right now is $17,000. Okay, that includes the online course, the syndicate deal analyzer, the document library, the 6 video case studies, and the 6 bonuses: the instant credibility in a box, the vision map, lifetime online support, 6 months of Dealmakers Mastermind, 2 tickets to our Financial Freedom Summits, and deal desk submission privileges. Huge amount of value. Now listen, you and I both know I'm not going to charge you $17,000, okay? I can do better than that, but let me just put this in perspective, okay? Because what if I did? What if I charge you $17,000 program? Would that be worth it? Well, it might be. I mean, how much is your financial freedom worth it to you? I mean, let's say you're trying to replace, $10,000 per month in income. Every month you don't take action costs you $10,000, right? I mean, how much would you pay for financial freedom? If I say, look, if you do this thing as I outline in this course, within 1 to 2 years, you'll be able to quit your job. I mean, how much would you pay me for that? Would you pay $50,000 for that? $100,000? Come on now. I mean, we're talking about your permanent financial freedom here. $17,000 is not a big number to pay for financial freedom, okay? But even if all it did was I helped you raise money, okay? Let's say it does nothing else. You don't actually learn how to do anything else, but I'm going to show you how to raise money. And you could use that knowledge to raise money for anything you want. Okay? And I say, well, even further, not only will I teach you to raise money, but I'm going to actually raise it for you if you come across a nice deal that's bigger. Would that be worth $17,000? It might be. But I'm not going to charge you that right now, okay? Because I really want you to sign up. I don't want this to be an issue and a financial issue. And so what I'm offering you right now is 2 ways you can get started. One is an upfront payment of $19.97. And you can also do a payment plan, okay? Because I want you to get started for $397 down today, and then 4 monthly installments of only $449. So you have 2 options. If you pay up front, you save about $200 up front. If not, you can get started for $397 down. And again, all this stuff expires Sunday. It just goes away. Again, you can buy the course without any of this stuff for $997 off the website, but you're not going to get any of this stuff at all. So I really, really want you to encourage you guys to sign up for this, to get the Deal Makers Mastermind, to get the lifetime support, to get the Deal Desk submission privileges, to come to the Financial Freedom Summit. All of it. I really want to help you change your life permanently. So go to themichaelblank.com/special right now. themichaelblank.com/special. Go there right now. Don't defer this, okay? I want you to go right now. Make a decision right now. Go there right now. Sign up. I want to bring up Philippe again, because I know some of you guys are concerned maybe about the level of investment, $2,000, but let me put this in perspective. Philippe did his first deal, and it was that 80 unit I talked about. And when we closed that, and we brought him in as a general partner, even though he didn't own 100% of the deal because we had investors in there, and it was also us in there, his share of the acquisition fee was $33,000. Now, but on a $2,000 investment, that's like a 15x return on investment. Just you'll get that back multiple times on your first deal, and that's not even counting the other deals you're going to do or the cash flow or the wealth you're creating. Okay, so you're going to get that investment back really, really fast and soon. Also, look, I have a money back guarantee. If you get into this thing and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not for me, just contact us and we'll refund your money back in your first 30 days. Just go to themichaelblank.com/special right now to sign up. There's no risk. You contact us on day 29 and day 30. Hey man, this wasn't right for me. It's not right for me. Look, I might ask you, hey, why? What can I do better? Because I always want to do better, but I'm not going to hassle you for it. I'm not interested in taking your money. I'm interested in helping you change your life. Okay, so I have this money back guarantee because there's really no risk. You can sign up right now and you can change your mind in the next 30 days. It's no problem at all, but I do encourage you to sign up right now. And I know that some of you guys are going to procrastinate. So I have a very, very special offer for only the first 10 people. And that is 2 laser coaching calls. These are 2 20-minute calls with me. As some of you guys know, I have a coaching staff now, so I don't so I don't do my own coaching anymore. And I do this, I did this with a heavy heart only so I can impact more people, because there's only so many people I can coach, and I wanted to be able to impact more people. So I decided to bring on coaches. And they're doing a fantastic job. They're all full-time, and they share my passion. And just so you know, you don't have to join the coaching program. I'm not selling a coaching program on this call here. Not everybody can afford or want coaching. And like I said, I'm not holding anything back in this offer I'm giving you today. Some people want or need coaching. It's what they want. They want a very personal attention, and that's an option for them. But don't feel like you need to sign up. I'm just telling you, this is very special because normally you don't get access to me. There's so much demand on my time now, which is sort of great. I'd rather talk to all of you guys if I could, but I can't. But for the first 10, you're going to get 2 20-minute calls with me. And the goal really is to help you prioritize and create a custom plan for you. Okay, everybody's got a little bit different goals, and that's the advantage of coaching. And you're going to get 2 of these 20-minute calls with me. I suggest you use one after you sign up. I'll ask you some questions about your goals and point you in the right direction. And then the second call, once you're done with the ultimate guide, because now you know everything, it shifts your reality of what you think is possible. And then we can create your custom 90-day plan based on your goals from the calls on your first goals from the first call. But that's only for the first 10. Okay, so all these bonuses expire on Sunday, but it's very likely, I see some sales coming in already. Distracting me. Sorry. So first 10, will get this with me, okay? So really sign up right now before this call is over. We're going to do a Q&A here at the end, but I don't want you to wait that long. I want you to go to michaelblank.com/special and sign up right now so you're in this group, okay? So here's just a summary of what you're getting. You're getting the Ultimate Guide online course. That comes with a syndicated deal analyzer, an extensive document library, 6 video case studies. Then you get the instant credibility in a box, the vision map, 9-day plan, lifetime online support, 6 months of the Dealmakers Mastermind. After that, it's $49 per month. 2 tickets to the Financial Freedom Summit, April 27th. And then again in October if you want. Deal desk submission privileges, and for the first 10, 2 laser coaching calls with me. You can get started for $19.97, one payment, or $397 down and in 4 installments of $449. The way to do it is to go to the michaelblank.com/special. And again, everything expires Sunday at midnight, and the laser coaching calls just for the first 10. Now look, I've already mentioned a bunch of people that have been successful with this stuff, right? We already talked about a few of them, but here's another one. I have a lot of examples. I just don't want to. I want to end the call and get to your Q&A here. But I introduced you to Bruce Fraser, and this guy, he decides to do multifamily, joins the program, 9 months, closes a monster 138 unit deal, raised $2.1 million. Impressive. 6 months later, 110 units. See how it accelerates. 6 months later, 80 units. Bruce adds $15,000 per month in cash flow in 2 years. Amazing, okay? Amazing guy. I wasn't sure at the beginning when I first met Bruce. He's kind of quiet. Didn't know if he was going to, kind of pull through with it. And in the background, he's busy working on this stuff, and then just kind of says, "Hey, Michael, I have this 138 unit under contract." And I'm like, "Holy cow, that's fantastic!" So, think about what financial freedom means to you. Okay, what really, yes, I'm offering you a solution, a specific solution. Become financially free, but I want you to imagine what financial freedom is like. And the most people that are successful are the ones where their current lifestyle, their current life is unacceptable to them. Okay, so I want you to really be clear what you would do with financial freedom. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's like golf, whatever. You could do whatever you want. You could spend time with your family, with whoever you want, wherever you want. Right? It means that you could put your kids into whatever college they want. It could mean that some of you guys have retirement coming up, and you're concerned about maintaining your quality of life after retirement. Well, this would be a way to do it, right? So really, really be clear. Imagine what financial freedom would look like if you didn't have to work anymore. I mean, it's staggering. So while I want you to imagine what it looks like, I don't want you to stop just imagining, because you actually need to take action. I love this quote by Andy Stanley. He's a preacher down in Atlanta. He says, it is your direction, not your intention, that determines your destination. Okay, it's your direction. So you can want whatever you want. I want to lose weight. But if I'm not actually adjusting my diet or exercising, if I'm not moving in that direction, well, I can have all the great intentions in the world, but I'm not actually going to get there. So the same thing with this. If you want financial freedom, and everybody on this call wants freedom, no one says, "Michael, no, I don't want financial freedom. It's not for me. I enjoy my W-2 job," right? So I already know you have an intention. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What direction are you going to do? And direction requires action. Right? You got to take action. And the way I think about this stuff is, if you want your life to be different this time next year, you got to do something right now. And that something is to sign up right now. Because that means that in the next 12 months, you're going to have your first deal. And from that point on, you're just about a year away from quitting your job. So if you want to quit your job, you want to be in a different place this time next year, in April, March, February, then go sign right now. Go to the michaelblank.com/special and sign up. Because if you don't do that, then your life's going to be exactly the same this time next year. And if that's fine with you, you don't need to sign up. That means your life is actually pretty good. And it doesn't mean your life has to suck. Okay, I'm not saying that. But if you're looking for a way out, then I really strongly encourage you to give this a shot, because it's worked for me, it's worked for many other people, and it's also going to work for you. So with that, I want you guys to start putting some questions in the chat box. All right. And in the meantime, while you're doing that, I want you to go to michaelblank.com/special.
Okay, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. We are having some issues with Michael's internet because he is in Dubai. Give us a few moments. We're going to try to get him up here for the Q&A. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in now. I can see some of you are already starting to do that. So go ahead and put those in there. We're going to try to get them on board with us. Michael, how are you doing? Okay, it doesn't look like Michael's going to be able to join us. So I want to go over a few things with you guys. For the laser calls, for that special, michaelblanc.com/special. The first 10 are going to be the only ones that are going to be available to get those laser calls. Michael is going to be in Dubai until the 18th. So you're going to want to go ahead and schedule those and plan to schedule them after that. If you are already an Ultimate Guide customer, you're going to already have an email in your inbox with your discount code. If you're a deal mastermind or the SDA, you're going to get the next 6 months free. You're going to give us a little bit of time on that. That's not going to be automated, but we will get that set up for you. If you need any help at all, there's going to be a blue help button on our sales page, or you can call the 855 number and we can get that set up and get you guys rolling. Thank you so much once again for joining us. We're going to see, I'm going to check back here with Michael, see if we can get him in for the Q&A. Give me one moment. Okay, guys, just sit tight with me for one more moment. We might be able to get Michael back on here. His internet, like I said, it's a little bit slower. Dubai doesn't have the best connection for him.
No connection.
No connection at all.
It's noodling. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. All right, here we go. Here we go.
So we do have Michael back in the room with us.
I don't know. Can you guys hear me at all? Can you guys hear me on the call? I guess the chat box. Can you hear me? Oh, of course I can't see anything in the chat. So I don't know if it's thinking. I am on the webinar now. And I'm not sure if you can hear me on the webinar. Oh, you can hear me. Oh, sweet. All right, Jan. Well, I don't see the chat anymore. All right, awesome. So go ahead and retype your any kind of questions you have in here because I don't have the historical ones. So apologize for that. Gosh, it's unbelievable, this internet over here. Anyway. y'all in?
Michael, can you hear me now?
There's a money back guarantee also.
Hey guys, if you can't hear Michael, go ahead and let us know. He might be dropping in and out. We're hoping that we can get him back on board here. I know a couple of you are saying that you're having some issues, so go ahead and let us know if you are. I know that we do have quite a few questions.
Tell Alex to sign up. If he doesn't have a special link to sign up, using michaelblanc.com/special.
Okay, Alex, you can go ahead and sign up using that link, the michaelblanc.com/special. And we'll go ahead and make sure we refund that $9.95 to you. So you can go ahead and use that link, and we'll go ahead and get that refund out to you.
All right. Thank everyone for attending. All the
Okay, guys, it looks like I'm talking to Michael here. It looks like his internet went down once again. I am very sorry. We were trying to take a risk here by having him do this while he was in Dubai with some sketchy internet, hard connection issues. We want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. I really hope that you got some great info out of this, that you feel a lot more prepared to take the next step in this journey. Take advantage of the deal that we sent out to you. This is a great, great deal. If you do have some questions related to that, go ahead and contact us again on that 855 number or on that help link that's on our sales page, and we'll get back to you right away. Thank you guys once again, and we do apologize about the Q&A.